Eleanor's breath hitched in her throat. The watch's soft glow illuminated the stark black words on the crisp white paper. Beside her, Michael shifted restlessly, his gaze fixed on a spot above her head. At that moment, a voice boomed over the loudspeakers, startling Eleanor from her thoughts. "Attention passengers, this is your final boarding call for Flight 47 to Denver. Please, hurry." The urgency in the announcement resonated with the message in the envelope. Flight 47, Michael Carter, suspected hijacker. A cold dread began to creep up her spine. She looked at Michael, his face etched with worry. Was he the Michael Carter mentioned in the note? Her heart pounded against her ribs, each beat echoing the frantic rhythm of her thoughts. She needed answers, but the only sound that met her ears was the distant hum of activity. Michael seemed to sense her mounting fear. He reached out, his touch a grounding force in the maelstrom of her emotions. "I need to tell you something," he began, his voice husky with emotion. "Something about me, about us." His words were cut short by a new announcement. This time the tone was different, sharper, laced with authority. "Attention passengers, we have an important announcement. Passenger Michael Carter, if you are in the terminal, please report to Gate 4 immediately. This is an official request." The words hung in the air, amplifying the tension that had been building within Eleanor. With trembling hands, she pushed away the thoughts that threatened to consume her. She had to remain calm, not just for herself, but for Michael, whoever he was. As she rose, the envelope slipped from her grasp, the message fluttering to the ground, unnoticed amidst the bustling crowd. Reaching Michael, she saw a flicker of fear in his eyes, quickly replaced by a steely resolve. Without a word, he took her hand, his grip firm yet gentle, guiding her toward the gate. Each step was a negotiation between her racing heart and her determination to stay grounded. The path to the gate was a blur, Eleanor's senses overwhelmed by the chaos of the terminal. The sight of frantic passengers, the incessant announcements, and the distant but urgent voice echoing through the speakers. "Michael Carter, please report to Gate 4. As they approached the gate, the realization dawned on Eleanor. She knew who Michael Carter was, the man whose name had become synonymous with fear and uncertainty. But the more pressing question was, how did he connect to the man beside her, the man she had fallen in love with, the man who had stolen her heart with his warmth and charm? In that moment, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, revealing a truth that was both shocking and heartbreaking. The Michael she had met was not who he pretended to be. He was Michael Carter, the notorious criminal, wanted for multiple hijackings and international crimes. The thought sent a chill down her spine, but amidst the revelation, another emotion bubbled to the surface: anger. She was furious at herself for falling for his fabricated persona, for trusting a man who had woven a web of deceit. But most of all, she was scared. Scared of the dangers she had unknowingly invited into her life, scared of the unknown that lay ahead. Suddenly, the gate announcement crackled to life, shattering the silence. "Attention passengers, Flight 47 to Denver is now boarding. Please have your tickets ready." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Eleanor's heart hammered against her ribs, each beat a drumroll in the orchestra of her mounting dread. The love of her life, the man who held her heart, was a fugitive, a wanted man on the run. Their future together, once filled with dreams and aspirations, now seemed like a mirage, shimmering and out of reach. Tears welled up in her eyes, blurring the image of Michael, of the life they were about to embark on. As she stared at him, trying to reconcile the man she loved with the criminal he was, a single question echoed in her mind: how could this be? The golden evening light, once romantic, now seemed to mock her. The planes taking off and landing, once symbols of freedom and adventure, now represented captivity and confinement. The soft carpet beneath her feet turned hard and cold, as if the world had suddenly decided to test its balance. This couldn't be happening. She shook her head, trying to find purchase on solid ground, but the world spun relentlessly, threatening to tip over. This wasn't true, was it? No, of course it wasn't. It couldn't be. Michael's usually vibrant face was drawn and pale, etched with worry lines she'd never seen before. His blue eyes, normally sparkling with life and laughter, were clouded with pain and fear. "I have to tell you something," he began, his voice breaking. It's not a lie, but it's not the full truth either. He paused, as if steeling himself for what he was about to say. "I'm no terrorist, Eleanor. I work undercover for the CIA." Her mind reeled, struggling to process his words. Michael? A spy? It seemed impossible. Yet the haunted look in his eyes told a story that resonated deep within her soul. She could see the truth in those eyes, and it terrified her. "Last night, I got intel," he continued, taking a shaky breath. "The real hijacker is boarding this flight. My mission is to stop him." His words hit her like a physical blow, stealing the air from her lungs, leaving her gasping for breath. She wanted to scream, to run, to do anything but sit there while her heart shattered into a million pieces. But then, another terrifying thought struck her. Why hadn't he told her any of this before? Why keep it from her when they were getting married tomorrow? The questions tumbled out of her mouth before she could stop them. Why? Why didn't you tell me any of this? Why keep it from me? His response was a tortured whisper, his eyes filled with pain and regret. "Because I wanted our love to be just that. Love, not shadows, not blood, not fear." His confession hung in the air between them, a heavy, suffocating shroud. She wanted to be angry, to blame him for the deceit, for the terror he'd kept from her. But how could she when his love shone through the cracks in his facade? A love so deep, so true, he'd been willing to sacrifice everything to protect it. Suddenly, the boarding announcement rang out, shattering the fragile bubble of their love. "Final call for Flight 302 to Washington, D.C. Michael squeezed her hand, his touch sending a jolt of electricity through her veins. She looked up at him, tears glistening in her eyes, and he cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs wiping away her tears. "If I don't come back," he whispered, his voice hoarse with emotion. "Eleanor, my greatest victory was your smile. Promise me you'll keep living." Her voice caught in her throat. All she could do was nod, unable to speak, unable to breathe, unable to comprehend the reality that was tearing them apart. He leaned in, his lips brushing against her forehead, and she closed her eyes, savoring the moment as if it were their last, because in a way, it was. When she opened her eyes, he was gone, walking away toward the gate, his shoulders squared, his steps purposeful. Moments later, cheers erupted from the other passengers as he disappeared through the security doors. Relief, joy, happiness. They were all emotions she should have been feeling. But all she felt was an overwhelming sense of loss. She watched, mesmerized, as the plane took off, the jet stream in its wake carrying away the last vestiges of hope. The distance between them, once measured in miles, now stretched across the vast expanse of the sky, a chasm that seemed impossible to bridge. As the plane disappeared into the crimson horizon, she felt the weight of his goodbye settle upon her. The sunset swallowed the sky, the dying embers of daylight replaced by the cool darkness of twilight. And with it, the only man she ever loved was gone, lost to the shadows,